under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. Forever American is what I am.
Hello, hello, hello. How you guys doing this evening? Hopefully everyone can hear me all right and see me all right. It should be a little bit more clearer than normal. Hi, Debbie Martin. Hi, Richard. Hi, Debbie Rogers. Hi, Nana. Hi, Tia. Hi, Gina. Hi, Linda. Hi, Pam. Hi, Rodney. Hi, Minnie. How you doing tonight? Of course, make sure you share this out everywhere because people are not getting notifications unless they're getting the email. So a lot of people are still, of course, watching the old page, which is affecting us greatly. A lot is going on in the world today, and we got to talk about it. Protests across the country, or rallies, should I say, pro-Muslim or pro-Hamas rallies. Let's be honest, that's what they are. They're not Palestinian rallies. Craziness unfolding, of course, in our great country. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Sharing it out everywhere, please. And of course, if you guys want to donate, the links in the chat on the bottom. There's only two ways to donate. One's directly through Linktree, and one is through PayPal. We cannot accept Cash App or Venmo at this time. Just letting you guys know. But let's talk about what's going on, because the United States is in this full-fledged whether we want to admit it or not. They're saying there's no troops on the ground. We know for sure there are special forces on the ground there right now in Israel. A lot going on, but of course, Secretary of Defense Austin today tells Israel leaders that we have their back no matter what happens, which is just ridiculous. Especially, I can't dispute what Hamas did is a tragedy. They should have never done that, killing citizens and everything else. We have troops on the ground in Israel right now. Guaranteed, for sure, confirmed. I have word that there are NATO troops on the ground in Ukraine. It is not public knowledge yet. I have word that there are NATO troops on the ground in Ukraine as we speak. We already knew there was U.S. troops there. Of course, nobody actually wanted to talk about it. No, I'm saying it did happen. What they did in Israel did happen, and it's tragic. But what's happening in Israel, or in Gaza right now, is also tragic. And we're going to talk a little bit about that so you can understand why I'm saying it's tragic, because I know you guys don't understand. Right now, of course, Israel has issued an order for more than 1 million people to evacuate as Palestinians are fleeing Gaza ahead of expected invasion of ground invasion. They only have 24 hours to get out of here. Over 1 million people in the northern Gaza Strip have been ordered to evacuate south. Now, that's not a bad thing. It needs to happen. They need to get out of there. Iran already has nukes, but that's another issue altogether. But let's talk about this. We have a mass exodus from northern Gaza after Israel's military told some 1 million people to evacuate. And then Israel took warplanes and struck the corridor of people traveling south. That's right, Israel struck and killed 70 people, at least 70 right now, people dead that were fleeing south, doing exactly what they were told to do. Israel sent warplanes to strike the corridor of vehicles. I mean, no, not to retrieve hostages, and we're going to get in there too. That's a whole nother problem. These people, of course, having to evacuate on foot. They're taking vehicles. They are being attacked by planes overhead. 1 million people trying to evacuate, having to travel through over 120 miles, most of them, to a safe zone, with no food, no water, no humanitarian aid whatsoever, because humanitarian aid and the crisis that is happening and unfolding in Gaza, because water supply was shut off abruptly right after Hamas did this horrific attack on Israel. I gotta say, the attack was horrific. But what Israel is now doing to the Palestinian citizens, or the citizens of Gaza, is also not right. I understand that terrorism is awful, and there's about maybe 30,000 people total that are part of this Hamas group. Out of the millions of people that live in Gaza, over 2.5 million people in Gaza total. This is tragic, watching this unfold. Anybody that says it's not tragic doesn't have a heart. Watching young families getting killed on both sides. Shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen in this day and age, but it is. Most hostages are dead. Let's be honest, that's a determination that was already came forward. Days after the Hamas launched their surprise attack on Israel, experts in war and food insecurities and concerning that the fighting will lead to widespread suffering for civilians, which it already is. Those trying to leave the Gaza Strip, doing what, of course, the Israeli military is telling them to do, facing these issues. Both sides are nuts on this issue. One of the most densely populated regions in the world, the Gaza Strip. And the world, not just their country, and the world. Got to make sure I say that enough. The fighting continues and the borders remain closed. The borders have been closed for over 17 years, except for key points to get in and out. Residents of Gaza already ran out of food, portable water, and essential emergency supplies already. This is a tragedy. Where is the water? Where is the food? Where is the humanitarian aid for the people, the civilians, the people that aren't part of Hamas? The humanitarian crisis brewing in the Gaza Strip was a concern before the fighting commenced. 2.4 million people packed just into 140 square miles. Residents living in Gaza Strip are wedged between Israel and Egypt and the Mediterranean Sea. They've been experiencing threats to their food and water supplies well before Hamas' surprise terrorist attack in Israel that led to this war. I mean, this is a 1,000-year conflict region that has also degraded the land, leaving reverberating environmental effects, making it nearly impossible for Gaza to produce its own food supply. It's tragic. Reoccurring periods of violence have led to high levels of disruption to infrastructure, periodic water and sanitation shutoffs, as well as power plants. Now, of course, the highly degraded strip of land trying to sustain a high level, high density, very high density of population. That's the kind of situation, of course, they're facing. Living on the edge already. It's only getting worse. There is no surface water. There is no lakes or rivers to draw from in the region. There's nothing. The only resource to extract water is from groundwater. Of course, that's a big problem as well. Therefore, supplying water to its territory and over extracting is only about 4% of water is actually potable from the aquifers that are in Gaza. So for years, this has been a huge problem. Just sad. I don't trust anything that's going on over there. And it's only getting worse. Rescue workers, of course, are trying to get in there as soon as possible. Israel's telling them no. You can't send humanitarian supplies. You cannot help people. You cannot retrieve bodies of children. The roads are cratered and rubbled. Lack of anything to help people. More than 1,500 people died in the airstrikes from Israel, at least. Those are the numbers, supposable numbers the Israel military is saying. We know there was over 750 airstrikes in one night on Gaza. Totally destroying buildings, destroying medical facilities, destroying schools, destroying churches. Where are these refugees going to go? There's no shelters south. They're being told to head south where there's no supplies waiting for them, no food, no water. And I detest what Hamas did to Israel. But Israel saying they're going to purify Gaza? That's what they said. They're going to purify Gaza. That's sad. Sad part about all of this unfolding, and I know you guys probably hear one side over the other. These are they're sitting ducks. They're being picked off. And Americans trying to flee Israel, of course, have to take charter planes from the U.S. But wait, there's a catch. Travelers, of course, that live in Israel, or United States citizens that live in Israel, will have to pay, or they're required to sign a promissory note, which is an agreement to repay the United States government so they're gonna have to pay to escape a war zone. This makes no sense. This is the backwards thinking of the not just Democratic Party, of American politics today. We're going to charge U.S. citizens to get out of a war zone where they have to take chartered flights because there is no flights going in and out. Only U.S. military or government military flights are going in and out. Every other country has sent flights in, but not the United States. People that have dual citizenship or U.S. citizens that are living there, and of course, their houses have been destroyed and everything else. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody cares. You're going to have to pay to get home to America. You're going to have to pay as an American citizen. This is tragic. This shouldn't be happening anywhere. But it is. It's happening. Nobody's saying anything about it. Nobody's caring. Nobody's raising their hand and saying there's a problem. It is just disgusting at this point. And Israel doesn't care who they're hurting. Israel, of course, bombing Gaza. That's not a question. But now Lebanon, of course, Israel's shelling along the Lebanon border, kills at least one journalist and wounds 6 in Lebanon. That's right. So Israel's just firing nilly-willy. Journalists covering the clash on the other side of the border in Lebanon on Friday are dying. This is just journalists that we know of. We know one videographer was killed and 6 other journalists were injured. We're not even talking about citizens in this other country. Problems happening everywhere. Hawaii is even worse. Watching, of course, I've seen some of these videos and photos, and you don't want to see them. It is sickening. But watching this stuff unfold, both sides are terrible at this. Hamas being a terrorist organization, that's awful, what they did in Israel. But Israel killing nilly-willy just anybody they can get their hands on, literally, as a retaliation right now. And it is retaliation. Everybody knows that at this point. It's not a joke. It's not a problem to say that. But it's sad. It is sad. Watching pro-Palestine protests happening around the United States, around the world, as we should be scared and concerned about what's going to happen this weekend. Of course, what's going to happen tonight even. These aren't being videographed, or they aren't being broadcasted live on Facebook like most stuff would be. Yeah, why couldn't they jump on Blinken's plane? Oh, wait, because that's a private flight just for Blinken. It is sad. Sad truth of the matter of what's unfolding and what's happening is devastating. It's devastating not just for the citizens, it's devastating for U.S. citizens, devastating for the world, as protests have erupted everywhere and rallies, pro-Palestinian rallies, pro-Israel rallies. People in New York, sitting congressional members of New York State, going to pro-Palestinian rallies, bringing weapons. She's facing a trial. She's already been put on bond tonight, being released from jail. But this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Yeah, and Biden just giving away money to Ukraine. Just giving it away without a Speaker of the House. But he's not giving our money technically. The IMF, what the IMF said is you can repay the IMF, International Monetary Fund, once you do get the approvals. So Biden sending money is basically the IMF giving the money to Ukraine. I'm going to talk about Ukraine here because this is getting crazy over there as well. And Ukraine's not doing well. I hate to say that, but it is not doing well at all. Let's be honest. What's really happening? Look at what didn't happen this week in Ukraine and what really did. I mean, we have a lot of popular stories in social media and widely spread. Ukraine's doing so great. It is just sad. And there are talk about, of course, Ukraine's or weapons that we sent to Ukraine ending up in Hamas's hands. Not going to get into that because that is a dangerous subject. And I want to know how U.S. weapons that we sent to Ukraine managed to get into Hamas's hands in Gaza. Everybody should be asking that question. How did U.S. military-grade weapons end up in the hands of a terrorist organization yet again? This isn't the first time. Again, end up in the hands. No, these weapons were for sure sent. There was rocket launchers, and they're serial numbered. These weapons were for sure sent to Ukraine. These aren't weapons from Afghanistan. That's the big misconception. A lot of people were saying, well, they're leftover weapons from Afghanistan, and there's verified serial numbers of rockets used in the initial attack and weapon serial numbers that were issued to Ukraine. Firearms, ammunitions, drones, and other weapons purchased by the Hamas group, the Palestinian group Hamas. This is a problem. There's over 1,000 organizations here in the U.S. that issued on the watch list this weekend. Watching what's happening unfold is crazy. And of course, the U.S. isn't getting any better. It's just sad. It's a sad state of events that we're living in today, and it's only getting worse. Our southern border crisis that we thought was a problem, we thought it was, is a lot worse. Seeing thousands of military-age men saying they're going to Chicago. I'm not getting into racism or anything, but all of Middle Eastern descent, single bus or single loads being sent there, of course, stating that they're from Venezuela and other places, but all saying, where are you going? Chicago. They have addresses and everything where they're going. This is people that knew where they were going. There's a lot more than 14 Hamas than what they know of. Chicago's already lost, but I'm saying this was months ago that these people came in. Nobody said anything about it. And, we talked about illegal immigration coming in and a problem. This is getting worse. Now we're seeing why they came in. Military-age men from China paying $80,000 to $100,000 to get into our country. Nobody batted an eye and asked questions why. It's crazy. The enemy is closing in. And I don't think our government really cares. We're still sending money here, sending money there. We don't have any weapons stockpiled. Oh, let's send everything to Israel now because Israel needs it for their war. Meanwhile, North Korea delivering over 1,000 containers of equipment and munitions to Russia for the Ukraine war. That's right, thousands of containers of military equipment and munitions are going to Russia from North Korea. This country that doesn't have anything. Of course, North Korea is refilling Russia's munition stores. Refilling them. Russia's not only that, Russia's throwing massive amounts of troops now back on the battlefield. Speaking of that, there's stories coming out of Ukraine that they may have lost cities outside of Bakhmut now. Ukrainians losing ground and losing it fast. NATO members on the ground there could obviously cause a huge influx of problems. As soon as Russia would have figured that out, that would be huge. We would end up in World War III. It's not a question then. And now, of course, the U.S. saying Russia backed Hamas. And if it happened, it happened. Whatever. The problem is we're facing the realistic problems. We know Iran backed Hamas, but we just released $6 billion for them for 6 hostages. For 6 hostages, we gave them 6 of their war criminals and $6 billion. And to think Hamas would not take Americans, any terrorist organization, would not take Americans hostage would be absolutely insane after that. You set a precedent to the world that you take Americans hostage, America will pay. And that's what happened. Our enemies are making moves, and it's happening fast. It is happening fast. And the government knew about these weapons going to Russia. They knew when they left the port and when they left North Korea back on September 7th. They didn't say anything. Russia, of course, received the weaponry October 1st, the munitions. It's an embarrassing move. Embarrassing. Everything that's unfolding is just tragic. And NATO members, of course, are using Romania as a reason for sending in NATO troops into Ukraine, as Romania finds more drone fragments on its soil after Russia's again hits the southern Ukraine. That's right, they're hitting all the way in Romanian areas where it's seen in Romania. So seeing these impacts, of course, and explosions on their territory, being a NATO nation, the spillover of the Russian war, this gives them precursors. Pipelines being destroyed in the Baltic Sea, again, mysteriously. Now they blame it on a Russian vessel that passed over 2 months ago in that area. 2 months ago. Of course, blaming it on them. It's time to wake up. The craziness is here. It's what we're living in. Not prepared to hear it. I'm sorry. But that's the way it is. It is a sad fact that America is stuck in a war, or a forever war at this point. And we just jumped in. Yeah, Paris and London, yeah. Well, here's the problem. And I'll talk about something else, because I know this isn't a headline story yet. It will be. And it'll probably be this weekend. And it'll probably be protests by Black Lives Matter, because I'm going to get into this. Last night in Louisiana, cops were called because a suspicious person walked past a synagogue, a Jewish synagogue, or Jewish church. Walked past a synagogue. Police arrived on scene, and the person he was suspicious, so they had no right to stop him or anything. He kept going, kept walking. Supposedly he pulled a gun. Not confirmed or denied yet. That's what's being said. That he supposedly pulled a gun on the officers, and the officers shot him. A lot's going to be coming out of this in the next couple of days. I know it because it happened last night, and it's nowhere on the news feeds yet. But the reason they confronted him is because they thought he was a Hamas agent, supposedly, because the Jewish church or the people there called a suspicious person report, and they took it automatically as truth, that it must have been a Hamas agent outside. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. What country do we live in? Police officers acting this way. And it's been happening over and over again. It's not something new. It's just getting worse. Time to wake up. It's time to wake up, because we're in this now. It's here at home. Whether we see what happens tonight on the streets, we won't know until tomorrow morning, most likely. But I can't imagine it's going to be good. Seeing protests here, even in Florida, at the college. Pro-Palestinian protests in South Florida. Never thought I would see that, but yet it happened. Why? I don't know. I wouldn't be pro-Israel or pro-Palestine right now, or Hamas. I feel bad for their citizens. for the people losing their lives, not for the military groups or terrorist groups. I don't feel bad for them. Sad. But good news, Jim Jordan, of course, is Republican pick now as the nominee for Speaker of the House, putting the job within Trump's allies' reach, which could be a very good thing, especially with everything unfolding with now our Colorado court stating that they will allow a trial to go through, or a hearing to get him pulled off the ballot for the insurrection that happened on January 6th, which was already proven he was not involved with. So I don't understand that, but we'll see how that goes. Jim Jordan moving up as Speaker of the House will be a good thing. Good thing not just for that, but for our country. Because Democrats want to spend when our debt is already through the ceiling. I don't know how Putin's going to react yet, but I don't think it's going to be good. Let's be honest. Any reaction for Putin is not going to be good. Especially because he drew a hard line in the sand. Putin drew a hard line in the sand and said any attack on Russia, the world will pay the price. Directed mainly at America, because that's exactly what he said, is America will pay the price. It's going to be bad. But God bless you guys. God bless America. And thank you guys for being with us tonight. Of course, if anything drastic happens, I will be live again tomorrow. If nothing happens, and nothing drastic happens, you won't see me until Monday. But of course, it's a crazy night. So much happening, so much information out there. Of course, I'll try to keep you guys updated. Got better camera. But God bless you guys. God bless America. Good night.